So in this video I'll show you how to line up text that may have become out of line in your Word document if you have, say, changed the font size or added a little bit of text somewhere and things have gotten out of line. This normally happens when somebody who has created the Word document has done so with a bunch of tabs instead of using the tab stop setup in Word, which is meant to help prevent this. So I'm going to hit Control Shift and the 8 key, and see you got all these tabs in here between the words, and so if you do change a little bit of spacing here, this stuff out here can jump and it won't do things that you expect. So you could go through and fix the tabs, like add one here and then that's all lined up, and add one here and that's nicely lined up, but that's kind of a pain, especially if you have 100 pages of this stuff. The right way to do it is to set tab stops. Like here I could set this margin back, and I could put a tab stop right here, and I could put another tab stop right here, but then you've got the extra tabs that you'd have to delete just so there's one. You just want one in these spots, not multiple runs of tabs, or runs of multiple tabs rather. So how are you going to do that in a way that is not going to take hours of deleting tabs and lining things up and all that? Well, there is a way to do it, and let me show you what that is. So I'm going to turn this off by hitting Control Shift 8 again so the characters disappear, and I'm going to take you over to a website on GitHub where I have a little macro called Replace Tabs. And what you do is you go to GitHub postifm Word macros, and if you go there you'll see a number of files, and there's just this one at the moment. I have some other ones that I'll put up here at some point, but this one's called Replace Tabs. So hit Replace Tabs and it will show you the code for that macro, and you can see all it does is set up the selection find box with some text and replacement text, and then tells it what to do with some of the other options, and then it just runs the replacement. There's nothing dangerous about this macro or anything. So what I would do is I just highlight this whole thing here, just the macro, and right click and say copy. I'm going to go back to Word now. I'm going to go to my macros, which is in the developer tab up here. Developer tab, go to macros. I am going to type a new name called Replace Tabs. I'm going to create that macro. And I'll say replace the existing one, sure, because I can just put it right back the way it was. Then what I would do if I were you is I'd just highlight all of this text from sub down to end sub, and right click and say paste, and that will replace the stub or the blank macro with the one that I actually wrote for you. And then hit the save button up here and then close it, and now you've got the macro inside of Word. You can double check that by going to the developer tab again, hit macros, and here's Replace Tabs. If I hit edit on that, then I'll see that yes, there it is. Okay, so close that window. Now what I'll do is I'll select all my text that's kind of out of alignment, and I'm going to just kind of memorize where I want the tabs. Here it's easy because there's just two of them. I want one at 1/2 of an inch, and I want one at 1 3/4 of an inch. So 1/2 and 1 3/4. So what I'll do is I'll just do that right now. 1/2 and 1 3/4. Just clicking up here in the ruler will put this little tab stop here. That'll be a tab stop which will put the words to the right of it. That's the L-shaped one there. Okay, so now things look like they're much worse, but if we go to the macros, and the reason that's worse is because there's a whole bunch of tabs here instead of just one. So if I go to the macros, I click Replace Tabs, I say Run. Now it has fixed all of those, except now here's the question, what happened here? Whoops, I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm going to hit Control Shift again, and aha, I see that there's a stray tab stop up here which is messing things up. So I'm going to grab a hold of that carefully and just drag it out, and then everything is nicely lined up. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can find another section that needs assistance, and in this document here it is. So we could do the same thing with this. I'll just do it on this line for now. So I know that I'm going to want a tab stop here, I'm going to want a tab stop here, and I'm going to want a tab stop here to line everything up. Now, of course, everything looks well, and actually, you know what I'm going to also want, just for sake of consistency, I'll put one right here at the ½ inch mark. Okay, everything looks really messed up. That's because there's a lot of tabs in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to macros, replace tabs, and then whoops, I'm going to click run, and voila, everything is like it should be. Now you can see here I've got one tab, then the word, one tab, and then these words as well, whereas all these other entries still have their multiple tabs in them. That's okay. You can just select and work in the areas that you want to work in your document and leave the others alone, or you can do the whole document like that if you want, section by section, or you can run replace tabs on the whole thing. It will get rid of all these strings of tabs here, and it will replace them with just a single tab character, and then you've got to set up your tab stops like I showed you in the ruler up here, and everything will be all set. Alright, I think that's it for now. I hope that's helpful to you to help you line up things in your Word documents. Talk to you later.